1,000 years ago, a bloody war erupted between humans and demons who shared the same world. This never-ending bloodshed resulted in a mutual decision to divide the Earth into two completely distinct societies. Nonetheless, some humans were left behind in the demon world as a gift. The demons needed to consume human brains to keep their intelligence and shape, or else they would devolve into mindless beasts. Since then, demons stopped hunting humanity. Instead, they gathered all humans and put them into farms, where they would slowly wait for the day to be eaten. Emma, Norman, and Ray are three ugly and disgusting orphans who live happily in the Gracefield orphanage under the care of their caregiver, Mom Isabella. The kids usually start their days early. They all perform tests to show off their intellectual abilities, with the trio being the best performers. And since Emma is the reckless one, she's the one responsible for taking care of their athletic abilities. She usually creates a tag game where everyone has fun and plays while also experiencing the nearby forest. In the end, every kid in the orphanage has the same dream: to finally be adopted by a foster family and leave. The most recent one is Connie, who suddenly gets informed that she will be adopted. As she prepares to leave, she reveals to Emma that since her initial dream has been fulfilled, she can now aim for something else. She dreams of becoming a mother, someone like Mom Isabella, someone who can take care of a huge family. However, after departing, Emma and Normal realize that Connie has forgotten her favorite small bunny plush. They know how much Connie treasures it and think that she won't be able to adjust to her new life without her best friend. Ray tells them to run and return the plush, as Connie and Mom Isabella should be near the orphanage. The two start running down the hill and enter the gate, which is forbidden to do. There, they find a huge truck and think that's how Connie will travel to her new home. To avoid being found out, Emma decides to put the plush in the back of the truck. However, when she looks inside, she drops the plush and backs away with a shocked face. Norman decides to check inside and gets shocked. There is Connie's lifeless body inside. Suddenly, they hear some voices and hide under the truck. The two people start talking and the two kids decide to check them out. But what they see isn't two persons, but two huge demons. Emma and Normal fight against their impulse to scream in terror by covering their mouth. They see the demons picking Connie's body up, mentioning that human meat is delicious. The demons drop Connie into a container and mention how the children from this farm are considered high quality and luxury meat by all demons. They immediately realize that Gracefield Orphanage is one of these human farms. Emma gets worried that something happened to Mom Isabella, but suddenly, another demon appears, mentioning that Connie is average quality meat because she's only 6 years old. However, they will soon be able to collect high-quality meat, and those high-quality ones are Emma, Ray, and Norman. But what shocks them the most is when the demon tells Mom Isabella to prepare to ship them. Emma and Norman's entire world collapses in an instant, revealing the horrible truth of their life. So, they get a chance to dash out and escape back to the house. Back inside, Emma has a meltdown upon realizing that everyone's adoption date is the date they will be eaten. Norman talks to her about what they will do and proposes to escape. Emma is apprehensive because she does not want to leave the other children to die. Norman tells them to take everyone then. But Emma doesn't believe that small kids can escape demons, until the idea that it's just like a game of tag comes out. Meanwhile, Mom Isabella finds out Connie's plush toy, which Emma and Norman had left behind to run away. However, Emma finds it hard to hide her fear when she hears and sees Mom Isabella. Norman tells her they must continue to behave as if nothing is wrong. Mom Isabella suspects someone was at the gate leaving the bunny behind, but she has no idea who it was. Emma and Norman agree during playtime that escaping through the forest is the safest option. But as they cross the short fence, they see a huge flawless concrete wall. After returning, one of the kids comes running and tells Mom Isabella that someone is missing. However, Mom Isabella pulls a gadget from her pocket and quickly picks up the child. Norman realizes that's a tracking device, which means that everyone has a transmitter implanted somewhere on their bodies. That also explains why there's no kind of tight security around the area. They realize that Mom Isabella only showed the tracking device to send a message, that it's impossible to escape. Back in the house, when Emma is having a quiet moment of grief for Connie, Mommy arrives in front of her, wondering why she's been less cheerful recently. Ray saves them both when he rings the dinner bell, but as Emma and Norman leave, Isabella asks them directly if they were at the gate the night before, but they smile and deny it, claiming that it is against the rules. However, Mom Isabella is clearly still skeptical. When they're alone again, neither can contain their horror. They're resolved to run away. All they need is a plan. This strategy includes hiding several tablecloths in a hollow tree near the wall, which they'll use to form rope when the time comes to flee. They have 2 months before the next child is taken away. Suddenly, they notice someone following them out to the wall. Luckily, it's their friend Ray, who is intrigued by what's going on. They eventually explain everything to Ray. They don't expect Ray to believe, but he does, explaining that Norman wouldn't make this stuff up. Ray joins the group to help with the large escape plot. However, Emma's determination to take all 37 children is a major issue to him. Later that day, Mom Isabella presents a new child named Carol, as well as an adult aide named Sister Crone. However, Crone is already plotting to replace Isabella as the new mom. Meanwhile, Emma, Norman, and Ray have one more difficult variable to consider as they prepare for what appears to be a hopeless escape attempt. But first they need to find a location where a tracking device could be installed. Emma is responsible for taking care of Carol, the farm's newest arrival, when she suddenly discovers a red bump behind her ear. She realizes that everyone also had it when they arrived there, because it was supposed to be a bruise from when they took blood to test for diseases. She tells Ray and Norman, making them all agree that attempting to destroy their ear trackers is too dangerous. They think it could set off the alert, therefore they must prioritize getting everyone out first. The three chooses to make the escape look like a simple game of tag. Emma suggests that they work on improving the kids' physical condition while Norman and Ray teach them how to survive. Unfortunately, Sister Crone is suspicious of their plans and aims to ship them away before their official ship date. She thinks this will be enough evidence to accuse Mom Isabella of violating procedure and finally rise to power. Later, the trio question themselves about Mom Isabella's suspicion, but she hasn't made a move. There are no bugs or cameras around the house or area, therefore, they think there's a traitor among them. Later that night, Mom Isabella promises Crone that if she cooperates, she will become a mother herself. Crone, predictably, fumes privately and determines to try to get Mom Isabella fired rather than wait for a promotion. Meanwhile, Emma, Norman, and Ray continue their escape practice under the cover of a tag game. Only this time, instead of everyone being on their own, the team is guided by older children. The trio believes Gilda or Dawn is the traitor. The three reluctantly reveal their secret with two other children, Dawn and Gilda, though Norman refuses to inform them that Connie is dead. Norman lies about the children who are left being victims of human trafficking since the cold reality may be too much for them. Gilda and Dawn eventually conclude that the only option is to flee. Ray doesn't appreciate how Norman keeps the reality about all the kids dying and being devoured from Gilda and Dawn. But for Norman, the escape must come first. He'd also arrange traps for Gilda and Dawn by placing their escape rope in different areas. Emma pretends to sleep that night and sees Gilda sneak out of the bedroom. Someone puts a piece of paper under Mom Isabella's door, stating that there is a rope under Norman's bed, which Emma cannot see through the door. After the paper is delivered, Gilda goes to Crone's room, and Emma listens in from behind the closed door. Things get tight in there, with evidence pointing to Gilda being Crone's informant or not. But in the end, Gilda does what Emma hoped for and refuses to reveal any information. When Norman and Ray investigate the two locations where the rope is hidden, Norman declares that there is nothing under the bed, and Ray concludes that Dawn is the traitor. Norman is just now persuaded that Ray was the true traitor all along because he was the only one who knew about this location. Ray, for his part, does not deny anything but explains that he did it because it had to be done. Norman agrees to forgive Ray in exchange for agreeing to be his spy as well. Ray agrees, but only if Norman dupes Emma into thinking they're bringing everyone with them. The little ones, aside from Gilda and Dawn, will be a burden both before and after the escape, and Ray didn't spend years being Mom Isabella's informant for everyone to be slaughtered in a useless attempt to get everyone out. Later, Ray meets with Mom Isabella, telling her that the others are still playing tag as practice, but that Mom Isabella and Sister Crone are the biggest threats. Ray later confesses to Emma that he is Mom Isabella's informant. Gilda and Dawn are kept out of much of the private conversations with the other three, but Gilda and Emma begin to pay more attention to Mom Isabella, and Emma discovers a secret room where she performs something. Dawn is eager to get in, but Ray cautions him, and Norman agrees. Dawn doesn't know Connie is dead, so he wants to escape and save her. In order to accomplish this, Johnny and Gilda enter Mom Isabella's room, where Gilda pulls a bookshelf away to uncover a closed door. Dawn continues to put himself and Gilda in increasingly dangerous circumstances, and is also preoccupied with discovering the truth that the other three refuse to reveal. As a result, he steals Mom Isabella's key. They decide to delve deeper and deeper into Mom Isabella's secret room to find all of the stuffed animals and toys. That not only validates Norman's claim about the grown-ups being terrible but also make them believe something far worse is going on. Norman and Ray chastise Dawn and Gilda, but they realize they haven't heard the entire tale. Norman chooses to tell him the truth, which, as expected, is difficult for him to bear. Dawn and Gilda assist in the theft of certain materials that Ray cites in his report to Mom Isabella describing Norman's plans to murder her. Norman informs Emma that he's having Ray give Mom Isabella false information, so she'll be misdirected or otherwise distracted when they flee. Ray also learns during his report that when the monthly shipment comes in January, he will be the one being transported overseas. His time is running out. With only a week until the agreed-upon day of the escape, the youngsters become a little too casual in their open conspiring, and Sister Crone appears from behind a tree to declare that she knows all about what the five of them are planning. She isn't angry, and she doesn't threaten them. Instead, she proposes they band together against Mom Isabella. That night, Emma and Norman pay a visit to Crone and ask her a series of questions, which she answers, but they also discover she knows more than she lets on. Meanwhile, Mom Isabella gives Ray an instant camera as a gift for his help. Mom Isabella later informs Crone that she has been appointed as Plant 4's mother and must go immediately. When Crone shows Grandma her evidence that the kids have an escape plot, she dismisses it because the youngsters are still under control. Grandma then commands the demons to murder her. Isabella's revelation of Ray's duplicity abruptly and unexpectedly ends their agreement, locks him in a room and detects Norman and Emma with her tracking gadget. Dawn and Gilda witness Mom Isabella leaving the house at that moment, but no sign of Ray. Dawn rushes into the house, bursts down the door, frees Ray, and the three of them rush to Norman and Emma's location. Mama runs into Norman and Emma and rejects their fake grins, breaking the charade she's been wearing for 11 years. She also appears to make a sincere plea for them to quit resisting and accept their fates. When Emma and Norman refuse Mom Isabella's ultimatum, she snaps Emma's knee like a twig and gently puts a splint before carrying her back to the house. Later, Mom Isabella informs Norman, who is shocked that his shipment date has been established. They reject Norman's suggestion that they continue with the escape plan once Emma is cured and without him. They tell him to disable his tracker with the device Ray has just finished and hide out until Emma heals, after which they will all flee together. Norman concurs with the plan. The next morning, Norman pulls off his escape. He holds the rope taut as he sprints up the wall, eventually grabbing hold of the top ledge and hoisting himself up. On the other side, a large forest spreads out in all directions. The adults would have a difficult time finding them if they could get everyone into that wilderness. When Mom Isabella learns Norman is missing, she examines his tracking gadget, and her look indicates that it isn't working. To Emma and Ray's surprise, she smiles and closes the device as Norman returns from the forest. Only from atop the wall, peering over the other side, did he uncover the truth. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.